worrying about baseball?
Last spring wasn't that bad. It's just it's part of life. It's part of it's just those things that you have to deal with sometimes. But I honestly had a good time with my family last spring. It was a new organization, and I expect this spring obviously to be different, but I still expect it to be just as much fun. My family came down, my brothers are down, and spring training is a time of year where we really get a chance to catch up. My younger brother's with the White Sox, and so we use spring training, obviously as a springboard to the season, but it's always a fun time, and last year was no different.
So I assume then that you're kind of a half-full type guy. You try to just put a good spin on things.
I think you have to. It's all about how you approach everyday life, and no matter what I have going on in my life, I still approach it like you said, as the glass being half full, and I get to play a baseball game for a living. I get paid for that, and I never lose sight of that. It's still fun. It's the same game I've been playing since I was 5 years old. And to think that I get paid to play a game that little kids play is still a thrill for me. It really is.
It's a thrill for us to hear guys like you say that. We were talking to Mike Cameron the other day, and he was doing this. He was like, I still can't believe my name's on the back of this. It's still, after all these years, was tripping him out.
Yeah, it is. I was talking to my younger brother. We've been coming out here for spring training in Arizona for years. Since I was maybe 7, 8 years old or something like that. I remember watching my father playing all these stadiums. I saw my father playing this stadium, and saw him play in Scottsdale. All these places that my father played, and now I'm playing, and now he's watching me. So it's truly a thrill to be able to come out here to Arizona. The fans are just as excited as ever, and the attendance is soaring, and there's a lot to love about the game right now.
Gary, as a center fielder, there aren't many guys that can play that position as well as you can. They went and found someone that
can play it as well as I can. Obviously, there's been so much talk about bringing in another center fielder, but it's going to be a change for me as far as playing different positions this year and playing all three, and we acknowledge that it's going to be more work for me as far as getting to know the different stadiums and the different characteristics and nuances of playing in a different position in different stadiums on the road. But I'm up to the task. It's something that I did in '05 a little bit, and it's not like this is just completely foreign to me. So it's going to be a little bit more work, but I think it's going to be a little bit easier doing it in LA and in front of my hometown fans and in front of my family. There's a lot to be excited about for this year.
Yeah, the last center fielder they had, they moved to third base, Sean.
Yeah.
So, I'm not saying you're not going to have to learn stuff, but, it's still the outfield.
People forget, I actually played a little infield last year, and I think it was in Seattle. We went with the 6-man, 5-man infield, and, it actually ended up working out pretty good for us.
How was that, though? Were you like, okay, I'm ready to go back?
You know what? It's actually really close. You forget how close you are when you get on the dirt. Messing around in batting practice is one thing, but a game situation with 40,000 sitting in the seats is completely another. But it's still fun.
Yeah, I often say third base with Sheffield up. No, thank you.
Oh, definitely not. Vladdy and Sheffield. It's got to be the two guys that you're not looking forward to coming up there when you're playing third base.
One thing about Gary being quote-unquote the fourth outfielder, you're going to get your 500 at-bats. I mean, Mike's the perfect guy to have in a situation like that.
I don't even know if I'd call it a fourth outfielder. It's just, I'm still going to play every day. They're expecting me to hit in the second slot, and I'm just looking forward. I told them, it doesn't matter so much where I play as long as I'm still in the lineup and hitting every day. And, obviously no one's crazy about the DH. But, I think with my defensive capabilities, this team would be, better served to use them more times than not. So, I'm going to contribute in the way that they'd like me to, but I also look forward to being able to showcase, all of my attributes.
You're having a fine year last year. You get dinged up. You come here because you want to make the playoffs, and you guys do, but then when you get there, you're not at full speed. Casey's in the hospital. Garrett's blind. I mean, is it tough to go down that way?
It was tough, but, it was really hard to play 162 games. I just said it a minute ago, to play that many games and then not get an opportunity to play in playoffs. So it leaves a lot more to be desired in this coming year, and it gives me something to shoot for and something to look forward to.
The nice thing about signing with a team like this, though, is that wasn't like your one shot. At least, you don't think it was. I mean, if all things go well, if you guys don't just have this incredible injuries, you should be back.
We should. I feel like this team is truly capable of winning a world championship. And I really look forward to being able to go out and do that. It's a really good team. You look at our starting pitching, you look at our offense. I think we're a lot more balanced now with the addition of Torrey, and our bullpen was extremely solid last year, like it has been for the past 3-4 years. So you put all those things down on paper, and you still got to go out and perform. You still got to go out and win ball games. But on paper we're looking really good, and now it's a matter of going out and performing.
You lose Orlando, who's a staple of the team both offensively and defensively. But as I've talked to Artie Moreno about, 18-game winners you got to give up something to get something.
Yeah, it's obviously it's really tough losing him. He was sort of a favorite in the clubhouse, and I was definitely a fan of his effort and no doubt his results. I think he's won Gold Glove votes, I think the past 5 years or something like that, and he won his second Gold Glove last year. But, as far as coming prepared to play, every night at 7:05, he was one of the best, and I think his results showed that.
But you get Garland. I mean, can't have too much.
Absolutely. We get Garland, who I think is going to have a really good year for us, especially pitching here in Anaheim, where it's going to be, the ball doesn't travel as well as it does in Chicago. The stadium in Chicago can be an airport at times, and I think you throw in Garland, who's known to be an innings eater, and you put him, give him a really good defense with a balanced lineup and a bigger stadium, and I think it's going to result in more wins for him.
It worked out in 05 for him pretty well.
Yeah, no doubt.